Guys, we need to talk about some very concerning shit going on in a couple of establishments in Melbourne. These establishments are Gardens of Eden, and they also own another venue called Club Hallam, spelt Hallam. A lot of this situation has been unfolding on Twitter in the last few days, and I didn't realise, but I actually have friends within the industry who have worked in this venue before. I've had a few girls reach out and tell me their story. Now, for the sake of this, I'm going to keep them anonymous, but I want to talk about what's happening because this is pretty serious. This venue is now capping the girls' extras at $50. I know a lot of people watching me don't consume a whole lot of content about establishments, so in order for it to make sense to a lot of you, I've got to start at the start and explain everything that's going on, so it is going to be a long video. When you work for an establishment, also known as a brothel, can't say the full term on TikTok because of the guidelines, you're an independent contractor, alright? So it's pretty common for the venues to enforce that you have to take a standard service, and most of the time that standard service is what you feel comfortable offering in a standard service. At least for me, when I worked in these places, it was one position, it was go until you finish, there was no touching, there was no kissing, nothing like that. The absolute bare minimum, because you're getting paid the bare minimum. Anything else that a client may want to do on top of that, like kissing, going down there on you, that kind of thing, is all at an extra cost. And this is where you make most of your money when you're working in these places. So this venue is now saying that its workers, regardless of the duration of the booking, whether it's 20 minutes or an hour, have to charge $50 for kissing this down there on them, this down there on them, and not even just basic kissing. They specifically mention tongue kissing as well. As an independent contractor, especially in this industry, it is so important that the girls are given the freedom to charge what it is they want for the services that they are giving. And this venue honestly thinks that it's okay to come along and tell your girls, no, you can't charge more than $50. What? They've also changed what's enforced in a standard. Now, at least for me, I've worked at two different establishments, Brisbane and Gold Coast, and standard was what you wanted it to be. It just had to be the act itself, this on them, and a massage. But it didn't include any sort of touching or any sort of kissing of your body. This venue is enforcing that that is included in their standards, so the touching and the kissing, and also that bookings 45 minutes and an hour have 2 shots included, which I have never heard being a thing for these prices, which I'm going to get into in a second, anywhere. Now, for industry peers who know a bit about the industry, when you're hearing these things, you're probably thinking, oh, well, they're probably getting a lot for a standard, and that's why they're enforced to do all these things that aren't normally a standard. These girls are getting paid less than I was when I worked in these places. Let me just share with you their cuts. On a 20-minute to do the deed with somebody, give them this. In here, I'm going to guess a massage. It doesn't say on the list, but I'm going to assume a massage is included. Allowing them to touch and kiss all over their body for 20 minutes, $60. For 30 minutes, $70. For 45 minutes with 2 shots, $95. For 1 hour, $120 with 2 shots. On top of that, you are capped at $50 in extra. So whether somebody books a 20-minute booking and wants to kiss, tongue kiss, go down here, $50. $50, whether it's 20 minutes or an hour, it doesn't matter how long you have to do those extras for, it's $50. These girls are independent contractors, okay? They get to set their fucking prices. It is not up to the venue to enforce you can't charge more than $50 for these things. And before they want to jump on here and, say that that's not what they said, I actually have copies of the contract, the paperwork that they gave the girls, and I'm going to share all of my receipts that I have on Twitter. So if you're thinking I'm lying about this, you can go and read it for yourself. And I'm going to read directly from that paper. We are not telling you to take this rule and conditions, since we understand that it is your business to decide the deluxe fees, and we are by no means telling you what you can or cannot do with your bodies. However, if you continue to work at Gardens of Eden, I need you to accept and agree with our conditions. Them admitting that they know that they legally can't do this and enforce that girls must see someone for a certain price when they are independent contractors. They know they're doing the wrong thing, but then they're like, oh no, if you don't agree, you can just leave. That is forcing your workers to do that. Let's talk about some other concerning things they've done, because since they've started getting backlash, they've put together this article, right, written by the owner, Peter, whoever you are, Peter, if you see this. He's written this thing about all the costs for his establishment and that he needs 12 to 20K per week to keep his business running, and that so much money is going to this and that and marketing, which we will come back to marketing later. He makes the claim that some workers in his establishment make more money than the venue does. 12 to 20K. Do we remember what I just said those girls were making on a standard? $60 on 20 minutes, $120 on an hour. We are talking about a job that has limits. You cannot work 70 hours a week doing this job. Your body has a physical limit, and trust me, I've hit it before. There comes a point where you cannot physically continue to do this work. In this article that he's written, he also blames his failing businesses on his own employees because they are refusing to provide standards and charging extras that are too high. He says his goal is to foster repeat business as customers need value for money on a luxury service that involves somebody giving up their body. Let me read this directly. I've got notes, so I'm not getting anything wrong. The practice of charging whatever one pleases is unsustainable and could lead to the downfall of the industry. The downfall of the industry because a girl has a right to decide what she's willing to do for what price? Are you fucking kidding me? There's a few more things I want to talk about. Don't worry, I'm not finished yet, Peter, if you see this. Something I want to talk about is there is an Instagram account that does reviews on these places before workers go and work in them, right? So somebody can share their honest opinion anonymously. There is one on there that I want to share with you. I've taken some notes from it. So it says, the quality of clients is awful. They're very rough and did not care about safety or consent. I was often in the bathroom crying after bookings. The manager will gaslight you if you try to leave early. That's what these girls are putting up with for $60. For $60 motherfucking dollars. Now, the following things I have to say, I'm going to say allegedly because I do not have receipts for these. I've been told these directly by girls who have worked at this place and felt comfortable sharing the following information with me. However, I do not have proof of these things, so this part is alleged. Everything else, I have all the receipts for. So apparently there are some issues with management actually protecting its girls, which is something they claim to do. They claim that this is a safe place. You know, privates are so dangerous, guys. But yet they have managers who aren't buzzing out bookings. So when there's a timer, they're meant to buzz you so you know you're finished, so you can go and see your next client, right? Apparently they're not always doing this. You're left in the room working overtime for free. When a client is aggressive or doing the wrong thing or refusing to leave, they are making the girls remove the client. Yeah, the girl herself remove her own client who is being dangerous. I also had somebody share with me a story that there was a girl living on site for 6 months and that she had a very bad drinking problem and was being rough, aggressive and violent with other workers. The issue with this is if you have a heavily intoxicated employee on your premise, how is she able to consent to the services anymore if she is that bad that she is actively starting fights with other girls? Another thing that has been brought up to me, again, alleged, is that there was a manager on the site that was being inappropriate with the girls for quite a period of time, and not just one girl, multiple girls. Apparently there are and were text messages to prove this was going on. This inappropriateness included sexual relationships with the girls working there. And apparently this manager was in charge of social media promotion, advertising, that kind of thing. And when he left, he took a lot of those girls with him, apparently. I mean, who knows what happened there. And no longer, like, there's no promotion going on anymore. So in his big essay that he wrote, Peter, he says that he's spending so much money on marketing and all this, but he hasn't replaced the employee that was in charge of actually advertising these girls. So you're claiming you need 12 to 20K a week. I'm nearly out of time here, but another thing I want to note is over their websites, they have made claims that girls are earning up to $7,500 a week. Just for argument's sake, if the girls are doing a 20-minute booking with a $50 extra on every single booking they did, they would need to see 70 clients a week. 70 clients, but yet they're making income claims on their website. Wild, absolutely wild. I could honestly keep going, but I'm going to run out of time. I will be putting all the receipts for this on my Twitter, everything that I have, and I hope you guys will share this video, comment and like just to get it out there.